Hello friends, welcome to Diksha Classroom. In the last few days, we have been discussing various questions from NTA net examination which were happened in the months of September, October and November in the last year. So far we have discussed many questions from communication, higher education and teaching aptitude, mathematical reasoning and logical reasoning. Today we are going to discuss some other questions from the topic communication which was asked the last NTA net examination. So let's start the discussion. So the first one, in this question we have given two statements, statement 1 and statement 2, and we need to find out which statement is correct or which statement is true and which statement is false, whether the both statements are true or whether the both statements are false. We needed to be find out that. So the question given below are two statements, and statement 1 says personality conflicts in a classroom situation are a barrier to effective interaction. So the statement 1 says it is related to a classroom communication or classroom situation, and it says like personality conflicts in a classroom situation are a barrier to effective interaction. Then statement 2, impersonal communication is invariably considered the best solution in a classroom environment. It is related to the impersonal communication, and it's obviously it is related to classroom communication. So the two statements are related to classroom communication, and we have said earlier there will be many questions. There were many questions from related to the topic classroom communication. So once again we have find another questions from classroom communication, and above two statements, in the lights of the above statement we need to find out which option is correct. Like option A says both statement 1 and statement 2 are true. Option B says both statement 1 and statement 2 are false, and option C says statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is false, and option D, statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is true. So we need to find out the answer. If you have known the answer, you can comment the answer, or if you want more time to do the answer, you can pause the video and you can comment your answer. Later you can start again this video. Let's check the answer now. So we can say that the option C is the right answer. Statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect, or the statement 2 is false. So in this question we need to find out why the statement 1 become correct and why the statement 2 become incorrect, or why the statement 2 become false. We need to find out that, then only we can understand the concept. So the statement 1 says personality conflicts in a classroom situation are a barrier to effective interaction. So it is a simple statement. In this statement we can understand that the personality conflicts in a classroom situation are a barrier to effective interaction. We know that personality conflicts, we know about the conflicts among different personalities. So because we know that like different person, all the persons are different. The each and every person has separate personality. One person's personality is different from another person's personality. So the personality of the people are entirely different. So in a classroom communication there will be the situation like the personality of a teacher differ from the personality of a students. Like personality of the students will be differ from personality of a teacher. So there will be a personality conflict. So when there will be a personality conflicts in a classroom, so we can say that that is a barrier to effective interaction, because the students will lose the interaction, or students will lose to inspiration to learn. Students will lose to motivation. Students will lose the motivation to learn because his or her personality conflicts with the teacher personality. Then they don't have any interest to sit in the classroom. So we can say that the statement 1 is correct. And when comes to the statement 2, it is an related to impersonal communication. Impersonal communication means non-personal communication. When our personal elements or when our personal involvements will not be there, we can say that that is impersonal communication. So the statement says like impersonal communication is invariably considered the best solution in a classroom environment. So the statement saying that impersonal communication is a best solution or impersonal communication is a best thing. So we know that impersonal communication in a classroom means we can say that when a person or when a teacher working or when a teacher teaching the students because they have been receiving the salary from management. So the inspiration of a teacher to teach the students is like he or she is getting salary from management means that is a impersonal communication in a classroom, because a teacher should not have these kinds of mind or mood to teach the students, because there should be a personal element. Apart from getting salary from management, a teacher should have an interest to teach the students, because that should be a personal need. Achieving the targets or helping students to achieve their target should be a personal interest, should be a personal matter of a teacher, apart from he is getting salary from management. Like, so we can say that impersonal communication is invariably considered the best solution in a classroom environment. The statement is wrong, or the statement is false. Impersonal communication is does not invariably consider the best solution in a classroom environment. I hope you have understood the concept. If you have any doubt, you can comment your doubt. We will be clarified soon. So let's move to the next question. The question is, in communication, interpretation of the message depends upon. So this question is related to interpretation of message. Interpretation of message. So we have given four options. First one, the context, and the second one, transmission speed, and third one, associated noise, and fourth one, channel efficiency. So from among the four things or four features, like the four options, we need to find out which one of them more depend on interpretation of the message, or interpretation of the message depends upon which of the following thing, whether it is the context, whether it is transmission speed, whether it is associated noise, whether it is channel efficiency. We need to find out that. So let's move to the answer. So the answer is, we can say that the context. Obviously the context of the communication is more depending upon the interpretation of the message. We can say that the second option, option B, transmission speed also depends on interpretation of the message, and associated noise as well depends upon interpretation of the message, depends associated noise as well, and interpretation of the message depends channel efficiency, in which channel through our communication is going on. So the channel efficiency also depends, the interpretation of the message also depends channel efficiency, associated noise, and transmission speed. But we can say that the most appropriate answer, and about these following things, or among the following, among these four options, the context is the best appropriate answer. The context is influencing, the context is more influencing among these four options to the interpretation of the message. So we can simply say that, like, when we are in a house where our beloved one is dead, and then when someone comes and says some happier things, we will not accept that. We don't have to understand that, because our situation is different, our circumstances is different. So the context or the circumstances or the situation where the communication is happening will influence more on to the interpretation of the message. So I hope you have understood the concept. We can go to the next question. So this is the next one. Which of the following factors are important in communication? which of the following factors are important in communication? Then we have given 5 factors: slang, cynical attitude, framing, priming, immediacy. We have given 5 factors and we need to find out among these 5 factors which are the factors are important, in communication. Then we have given 4 options: option A 1, 2 and 3 only, option B 2, 3 and 4 only, option C 1, 4 and 5 only, option D 3, 4 and 5 only. So we need to find out the correct option. So let's check the answer. So the answer is option D. 3, 4 and 5 are the factors important in communication. Among these 5 factors, the last 3 factors, that are framing, priming, immediacy, are important factors in communication. Let's check each one of them. The first one is slang. The slang is different. When the places comes to changes, or according to different places or different states, like the slang will be different, but it is not a one of the factor which is important in communication. Then we can say that cynical attitude, obviously, literally, cynical attitude should not be there. Cynical attitude should not be there in communication. We should avoid these kinds of cynical attitude when we do communication. So cynical attitude not a factor that helps in communication, not a important factor in communication. Then we can say that framing, priming and immediacy are most important factors in a communication, because we know that we know about that. Priming means determining before, like what to say, what are the things we want to say, or what are the things we want to communicate, what are the things we want to exchange, what are the things we want to transfer to other person. So we need to understand, we need to determine that factors, that information what we want to exchange to other person. That is priming. In priming, there is we can say that, like, when we decide what to say, that should be depend upon the mood of the listener or the attitude of the listener. Before saying something, we need try to understand the attitude of the listener. According to the attitude of the listener, we want to determine what to say. That is priming. So priming is very important. And the next one is framing. Framing also important. After we determining what to say, then we have to determine how to say. The information we can say in different way. So in which way we have to be selected, in which way we want to say, or how we have to say something to another person. That is framing. That's also important. According to the situation, we need to frame our information, what we want to communicate actually. Then the third one is immediacy, also important. While talking, while doing the communication, we need to adjust our eye contact, body language, the distance, the proximity. Like, immediacy also important factors in communication. So out of these 5 factors, framing, priming, immediacy are more important in communication. So let's move to the next question. In this question, we have given 2 lists and we need to match the list. We need to match list 1 with list 2, and list 1 are the examples and list 2 are types of communication. We have given 4 types of communication, and we need to match these types of communication with examples, appropriate examples of that kinds of communication. And we have given 4 examples. The option A, meaningless sound and words. Then B, traffic light signals. And C, words that have different meaning. And D, 2 persons exchanging greetings. Then list 2 types of communication includes polysemy, dyadic communication, paralinguistic, non-verbal communication. So we need to match the list 1 with list 2, and we have given for option A, A1, B2, C4, D3, option B, A2, B3, C1, D4, and option C, A3, B4, C1, and D2, option D, A4, B1, C2, D3. So if you have known the answer, you can comment the answer. If you want more time to do the answer, you can pause the video. Later you can again start this video class. So now we are going to check the answer. So the answer is option C. Option C, A3. We know that the meaningless sound and words, that is paralinguistic. We know that types of communication, there is paralinguistic communication. So the paralinguistic communication means meaningless sound and words. We know that paralinguistic communication means the pitch variation or artificial pause, or the when we speak there will be high pitch and low pitch, and there will be artistic pause, like these kinds of things are part of paralinguistic. So when the words and sounds, when we use in a communication, or when paralinguistic meanings or paralinguistic words and symbols when we use in communication, in that time that words and the sounds has meaning. Okay, when we use paralinguistic in a communication, that time the words and symbols have meaning, or the words and symbols are meaningful. But when that words and symbols stands alone, or when the words and symbols left alone, that time, that the situation when the words and symbols stands individually or separate from the communication, then we can say that words and sounds do not have meaning. Okay, when we use paralinguistic things in a communication, that time the words and the sounds are meaningful. But when the words and symbols stands aside or left alone, that time the sounds and words do not have any meaning. So that is one of the feature of a paralinguistic communication. Then obviously we know that the traffic light signals. So the traffic light signals are examples or non-verbal. The example of the non-verbal communication is traffic light signals. One of the example of non-verbal communication is traffic light signal. We know that there are verbal communication and non-verbal communication, and again we can divide verbal communication like oral communication and written communication. But it is related to non-verbal communication. In non-verbal communication, we should not use words. Instead, we can use signs, symbols, body language, etc. So here, traffic light signals are signals, and that are the symbols. So we can say that the non-verbal communication, that's the example of non-verbal communication. Then option is C, we can say that words that have different meaning. Absolutely, the polysemy. Polysemy is a kinds of communication, that means words that have different meaning. We know that we know the words like get and close. The feature of these words are like these words have different meaning according to the different situation, according to the different circumstances. The meaning of these words will be changed. Get means sometimes we use get for exchanging the information regarding to procure, or sometimes we use the word get for to procure something or to become, like the word close. Sometimes we say that close the door, or sometimes we say that he is close friend to me, so he is my close friend. So the word close and get, and there are many other words like those words have different meaning according to the circumstances. The words, so the meaning of the words will be differ. So in these kinds of words we can say that polysemy. So polysemy is a type of communication. Examples of polysemy are get close, because the words that have different meaning, when the words that have different meaning, we can say that it is a polysemy. Then the last one, we can say that two persons exchange greeting. So it is a dyadic communication. When a person exchange their feeling or information to other person, or face-to-face communication when two person exchange their greetings or exchange their ideas. So it is called as dyadic communication, means face-to-face communication, or when person A says something to the person B is called as dyadic communication. So the answer is option C. I hope you have understood. We can move to the next question. So this is the next question. So in this question we have given two statements, and statement one is assertion and statement two is reason. So in the lights of these two statements we need to find out the correct option. So in this question the assertion A says giving orders to students in the classroom is a specific form of communication. Giving orders to students in the classroom is a specific form of communication. Again, the question is related to classroom communication. And the reason says the manner of the manner of orders depends upon the cultural background of the students involved. The manner of orders depends upon the cultural background of the students involved. Then in the lights of above statement, we need to find out which one of the option is right. Option A, both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of A. Option B, both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of A. And option C, A, assertion is true and reason is false. And option D, assertion is false but reason is true. So we need to find out which of the option is right. So you can comment your answer. Let's check the answer now. So the answer is option C, assertion is true. Assertion is true but reason is false. So in this question we can understand that the statement of the assertion is true and the statement of the reason is false. Then we need to find out why the assertion become true and why the reason become false. We need to find out that. So we can check the assertion. Giving orders to students in the classroom is a specific form of communication. Obviously, the statement is very correct, very true. Giving orders to students in the classroom is a specific form of communication. So when a teacher teaching in the classroom, the teacher gives different kinds of orders to students. Like we can say that, to complete the notes, students please complete the notes, or should not come as late. When coming tomorrow, you should not come late. Like different orders. Study well. Tomorrow you have examination of mathematics, so you have to study well. Today night you have to work out all your problems. You have work out your homeworks, and when coming tomorrow you need to submit your notes. Like we have been saying, the teacher has been saying different orders to students, and these orders are a specific form of communication. That is right. So the assertion is true. Then when comes to the reason, the manner of orders depends upon the cultural background of the students involved. So we can say that the students who are sitting inside the classroom, and their backgrounds will be different. The background of the each students will be different. Some students are come from city area, or some students are come from village areas, and some students, the parents of the students have more wealth. Some of the students does not have any kinds of wealth. Like the backgrounds are social backgrounds, economical backgrounds, educational background, like geographical background. So the background of the students are different from one student to another students. So when the teacher giving orders, it should not be depends upon the cultural background of the students. So the culture, the students are come from different culture. The culture of the students will be different from one student to another student. Each students do have different cultures. So in this cultural background will not be a manner of a order. So we can say that the manner of orders should not depends upon the cultural background. A teacher should treat all students are equal. The teacher should treat equally to the all students. There will not be any differences. There will not be any disparities according to the cultural background of the students. There should not be such disparities and differences. When a teacher gives orders in the classroom, that should not be depends upon the cultural background of the student. So we can say that the reason is false. So the option C is right. Assertion is true and the reason is false. These are the questions we have discussed today. And if you have any doubt or if you want more clarification among this topic which we have discussed today, you can ask or you can comment here. We will be clarified soon and we will come tomorrow with some other question. Thank you.